Welcome back, everyone. My name is Emily Gear. I am a transformative and twin flame energy healer in a multi-dimensional channel. And we're back today with your twin flame energy update. I am going to go ahead and do an extended reading for you as well. So look for the link to that in the info box below. It's over on Vimeo. And you can follow the link to reach that video over there. Just going to take a moment, as usual, to show you my website, which is exactly where you'll go to schedule a personal one-on-one Zoom consultation, either reading or energy healing. Now, I am primarily an energy healer, but as you know, I do incorporate the readings in my energy healing work. I work primarily through the Akashic records and the Book of Truth, Akashic Enlightenment, which I learned from Sherry Mosley recently. And I also use my own healing modality, Theta Healing, Reiki, all kinds of different energy healing modalities. So definitely check that out. So we're going to get started with the reading today. I just want to mention briefly, I'm going to get weird on y'all again, just like yesterday. But one of the reasons why I didn't record this yesterday is that some of the individuals sending me inappropriate messages, we'll just put it that way, are also insisting that they are in some way my twin flame, divine complement, a beloved, however you want to put it. And I kind of just let that go because I felt like on some level that was probably a heartfelt and maybe genuine feeling, but it just isn't the truth. I do have one of those, and I know that person, and they are somebody who is part of my physical day-to-day life. So I guess I just would ask that also stop, because it is just uncomfortable and strange to me that you would reach out to somebody on the internet and feel like that was, I don't know, a reasonable conversation to have. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm being very closed-minded here with this, but I am asking you not to go there anymore. And there are more than one of you who do this. So I have to imagine I'm not the only woman or man on YouTube or any other form of social media that has people coming to them doing this. So I would just caution you and say that you may be crossing someone's personal boundaries or disrespecting them or their partner or whatever by doing things like that, even though you don't intend to. And so this is just me saying my piece. I will stop being weird. Sorry, guys. We are still in we are still in Mercury retrograde in Scorpio, which is my third house of communication. And sometimes shit just needs to come up. All right. Okay. So all of that having been said, I want to get started with this reading. And we're going to start with what is the overall energy affecting the twins at this time. Let me just get the camera turned on me again. Are you going to work? Oh, no. There we go. Okay, guys, there you are. Sorry about that. All right, so I'm using Queen of the Moon Oracle deck actually to get some of this overall energy affecting the twins, please. We are going to look directly at masculine and feminine, and there's going to be more information in the extended reading, so I do invite you to check that out for sure. And then, of course, if you want to look at your specific situation, we can go in depth with your personal situation in a private session. Okay, so energy affecting the twins overall at this time. The first card that did pop is the card of fruition. And that to me feels very appropriate. It's the feeling of sort of, I feel like some hard work showing some progress at this time. it might not be like the full meal or the full spread or the full banquet, but you're definitely starting to see some small bits. Here's fruition. You're definitely starting to see some flowering, okay, of the relationship, of the connection, of the recognition. And I feel like this is the card for action. There may be action coming in, but what I'm really actually feeling for this is something that's more like something that's a little more like recognition, in the sense that you can see this playing out in your life, as opposed to continuing to guess whether or not this is really happening for you, if that makes sense. My dogs might bark in a second. Sorry. Apologies in advance. I feel like this is, so that is on the external. On the internal, there is quite a bit of action. And that seems like an oxymoron, because usually we talk about action, about what we're doing, you know, what we're doing in the physical world, what we're doing on the outside, how we're affecting others. But this to me is like, do you see how she's a dancer? And when you dance, I feel like that is the outward expression of an internal motion. And so that makes you the dancer, if that makes any sense. Moving the energies within you to help create this very physical manifestation of your own blossoming, of the blossoming of the relationship, of the blossoming of the partnership. Self-reflection is the third card that came out here. And that is one of the most important things that's going on at this time. You see she's up to her neck in water here. And I can personally relate to this. I think a lot of people can relate to this right now, in the sense that you may have, through the Scorpio season, through this Mercury retrograde, felt up to your neck in emotional detritus, is kind of what I'm hearing. I think a lot of these emotions, there may have been some positive emotions, there certainly were for me, but there were also a lot of emotions that were challenging, that felt really overwhelming at times, and they weren't directly related to this journey specifically. But the thing about this journey is it's not really, as we always say, it's not really only about coming together with a specific person. It's about building the cathedral within yourself, is really where I always take it back to. And then that sort of brings the entire larger cathedral of the union together. And so this has been a very potent time of self-reflection. The being relating to the retrograde, where we start to look inwards, looking backwards on things that are no longer really tenable for us. And so some of these emotions that have come up are probably ones that we've experienced throughout our lifetimes, that are related to past lives or childhood, or something that's very deep, okay, with this deep water here, deep in the subconscious, deep in the past. And they might have felt very stifling, but I feel for many of you, for shorter periods of time. Like, I almost feel like there were lots of cycles that went through the last few weeks. And this continues to be one that we have to work through. That the emotions will come up. You have to acknowledge them. Allow yourself to feel neck deep in them, right? So that you can allow it then to pass through your body. Who did I hear talking about this the other day? Molly McCord again, because I think I mentioned her the other day. I listened to another video of hers. I don't know which one it was. I don't even remember what we were talking about, but what did stick with me, because it so closely resembles the way that I deal with emotion, is that emotions are energy in motion. Makes total sense. And when you put it that way, it makes sense that we need to let it flow through our body and then release it. It's not e-stucks energy stuck, right? Because that's what happens when we don't let it flow through. I know I harp on this in probably every single video, but it's so important that that's what we're doing right now, because that is the missing piece. If you're saying, I'm not moving forward, my connection is not moving forward, it's because you've got these patterns, these emotions, these behaviors, all this stuff that is just stuck. Because maybe you've shoved it down. Maybe you're too afraid to look at it. Maybe you didn't want to see yourself in the mirror of that, right? It's a mirror. That's what your twin is. It's a very clear mirror into yourself. And so whatever you're pointing at them, saying they are doing this, be sure to point it back at yourself and be like, okay, where within myself am I also playing out this same story? There's probably a correlation. I find that with my clients, most of the time, there's some kind of correlation there, because as within, so without, as above, so below, the twin flame journey is the manifestation of clearing and healing the separation wound, the separation from source, okay? So that is what you're doing as you clear these negative emotions, as you heal them, as you release them, allow them to go through your body. And when they come back up later, it's not because you failed. It's because you're practicing letting them go. You're getting better at it. Ooh, sorry. I knew they were going to bark at some point. Hang on. Okay, sorry about that. My dogs. All right. So to recap, there is a blossoming. There is there is more self-reflection happening right now, a mirroring, a releasing. And with that release comes this sort of dynamic action, this dynamic motion, which can relate to these emotions we're talking about. I feel like this is very dynamic because this is almost the motion of the energies being released from your body. Okay. It's a lot of growth happening right now, even though there is a growth card in here. But I feel like if that would have come out, it would not have had the color and like the flavor of talking about things that are blooming and coming to fruition, and the sort of dynamic motion within ourselves. Okay. So that's what's happening for the whole collective. The next question is, how is the divine masculine feeling? So I'm going to use my Pagan Otherworlds deck and probably a few others. How is the divine masculine feeling right now? How is the divine masculine feeling? Okay. That's weird. We've got the Ace of Wands coming out with the Four of Swords, but I'll be honest with you, I've seen those cards a lot recently. And the Knight of Wands here. So we're going to start with these. Ace of Wands, Four of Swords, Knight of Wands. I feel like this person is, on one level, they really want to move forward. They really want to get things going. I think they have a lot of energy. It's almost like the energy in this action card where it is a bit overwhelming and it is very vibrant within them. There's a lot of activity on the energetic scale. They are very much drawn toward their counterpart at this time. I think that they, on some level, are imagining and hoping for this new beginning to get started. Now, they might have a whole lot of things still in the way, not the least of which is whatever they're self-reflecting on right now, okay? And so I feel like this Four of Swords is kind of holding space for the way that they are just kind of, they're in that moment that I think when watch readings, we see these cards come up and we expect within 24 hours that something's going to happen, right? And that's just not how this works. They may take weeks, months, however long to mull this over, to sort of make sure they're moving in the right direction, to get things sort of lined up and aligned in their lives in order to take action forward, whatever that is for them. Because we know that probably none of, I mean, that I have not met anyone who is going on this journey without some kind of challenge. Because that's what this is about. This is about healing those wounds and overcoming those challenges. So this to me is just respecting the fact that there is more work for them to do on the internal level. They actually might seem or feel to be a little bit more separate right now, separated, quiet, reserved, but that doesn't represent the sort of internal action that's going on and their desire. It doesn't even, what they're saying is it doesn't have to do with their desire to come toward you. It has to do with their desire to allow things to settle, to allow things to be done in integrity, is the word they're using right now, integrity. Whatever that might mean for your particular person. So speaking of how they're feeling, Come to the Edge just came out. And for me, it's a little bit like the Fool card. Relates well to the Ace of Wands here. And I feel like that is that feeling of being poised and yet still being at rest. Why are they at rest? Just really quickly, why are they still at rest? Let's see. I'm going to pull a conscious spirit card. Okay. Water elemental just popped out before as I first started to shuffle. I allow my body, mind, and spirit to flow intuitively through the changes in life. And that relates really well to this action and self-reflection card, I think. The idea of flowing, allowing the energies to flow appropriately. This might be a new experience for them. And I'm kind of getting too with this Come to the Edge card that this is probably a bit of a scary experience. So there's like a stop and start energy here. A stop and start energy, because it is so alluring, so powerful, and yet so risky. But I think what I want to say here is that because of the self-reflection, there's a sense of self-awareness that maybe wasn't there before. And so the flow of these energies is more potent, they're more aware of it now. And they're allowing it in a way that they would have probably stopped it or stuffed it down. And this is creating this action, is creating the blooming, the coming to fruition of the energies. So there's fear and excitement all at once. All right. The next question, actually, let's do the same question for the Divine Feminine now. So how is the Divine Feminine feeling? I'm going to use my Modern Witch Tarot. How is the Divine Feminine feeling, please? I'm hearing I can do anything. The Sun card popped out. I'm hearing I can do anything. I feel like she's feeling incredibly empowered right now. Additional cards, please, for how is the Divine Feminine feeling? Okay. I love this combination for some reason. I still have to figure out what they're trying to tell me. But we have the Sun, we have the World, and we have the Moon. All in alignment, in total alignment. What I'm feeling right now is this recognition of and safety in, and I don't want to say dependence on. I want to say trust in. Trust in the cycles. The sun comes up, the day takes place, the day closes, the moon comes up. Every day, dependably. Your mood goes up. It cycles through. It might dip down again. According to hormones, according to blood sugar, according to energies, according to the universe, according to whatever. Lessons that you're learning. It's all cyclic. And it's all reliable, dependable, trustworthy. So I feel like she's feeling like she can do anything. She's feeling, I'm hearing in control. And that control is coming from surrendering to this sort of like natural cycle of life, of energy, of relationships, of everything that exists. That there is, the other thing that's coming through with this cycle, and I think it makes sense because the cycle is a circle, right? With no beginning, no end. No top, no bottom, no separation. It is all one, right? Is that she is feeling the unity she's feeling the unity of opposites. She's clearing the duality in her energy. I'm hearing just holding that space. There's an active principle that I feel going on through the divine masculine's energy here, and there's a passive principle that I feel going on in the divine feminine's energy here. This is just a lot of alignment. I feel like I've said that a number of times in other readings as well. Let's see what wants to come out of this deck for the divine feminine, how the divine feminine's feeling. Your alignment and your surrender to the cycles, your trust in the cycles is allowing this kind of new beginning to start to come forward for the masculine. This lack of fear, I'm hearing a lack of fear of this self-reflection, lack of fear of being up to the neck in the emotional energies, because you now see how it happens. You now see there's a release. And then there's a recovery and a renewal, okay? How's the divine feminine feeling? The tribe. So, I just keep hearing about trust. And it may be that the collective, through seeing the collective experience of the cyclical nature of this entire situation, or the changes that people are going through, or sharing your own experience. There's something, honestly, there is a very deep feminine aspect to this idea of the tribe. They're actually showing me, so I don't know why they're doing this, but we're gonna go there and see where it takes us. They're showing me the Inuit women, where they would get together and they do this throat singing, and that is something that they started to do when all the men went off to hunt and they were left alone. And like these, you know, in the winters especially, it would be like 2 hours of daylight, and so they would amuse themselves and create in a certain way through these throat singing games, where two women would go back and forth, and basically the one who would laugh or stop or run out of breath or whatever first would lose and the other one would win. It was all in good fun, but it also was a creative process, and became like a cultural, what do I want to say? Like watermark, like a cultural stamp, whatever. You know what I'm saying. I don't want to work too hard on finding that word. And there is a strength in the feminine community there that I feel like this cycle nature, which is also a very feminine idea, is supporting, if that makes some sense. So I'm going to pull another card to clarify that a little bit more. I think she's feeling supported and trust and being able to trust more than she has in the past. How's the divine feminine feeling? Okay, 2 came out. The first one is Earth Elemental. I gratefully accept the abundance the earth bestows on me, which is amazing for this card of fruition, but also these like cycle ideas, because all of the physical world and nature and the earth all act on cycles. Mother Earth, okay? The cycles of nature, all of this is cyclic. All of this is supportive feminine energy. And then the next card here is Transformation. I journey within to meet my higher self and to find true happiness. And so this is trust that she's experiencing both externally and internally with the feminine tribe, and also within, meeting herself truly and fully for the first time on this level. That's not to say none of you knew yourselves at all or have been knowing yourselves, but this is a new level. And I think that both of these energies here between the masculine and the feminine are setting the bar in a new place, because there's a sense of self-possession here that hasn't necessarily been here before. Okay, next question. What does the divine masculine need to work on? Moving these cards up. What does the divine masculine need to work on? What does the divine masculine need to work on, please? Okay, we've got the Page of Wands with the Page of Swords coming out. The King of Wands here. There's something that's a little bit immature. So, to me, this is somebody who really needs to step more deeply into their personal power. And my feeling is that there might still be some not understanding what that power really is. There might still be some distorted masculine going on here. And I think that on a higher level, from the higher self, he knows this, and that's why he's got this Four of Swords up here. That's why he's kind of putting the brakes on, even though there's this drive to move forward. And he's gaining this more I was going to say emotional maturity, so that might be something that's coming up. I'm feeling almost like it's emotional maturity that is coming through, allowing the emotions with this water element card above to flow through him. And that this sort of pause time that's continuing. Yes, I know it's been going on like this for a long time for many people. But this pause energy, it's like it's the brakes put on by the higher self because he knows he is not there yet. How can he? I'm almost getting the image of him coming as like an adolescent to meet the feminine tribe, and how terrifying must that be? You know what I mean? So that's why the brakes are applied. He's not in this power yet, but he's getting there and he knows it, you know. So there's a certain amount of awareness of where he needs to go. So what is he working on? What does he need to work on? I am getting that some of them are kind of blocking this a little bit with some slightly immature behavior, like maybe cutting you, cutting you off short, like maybe not kind words, or almost like, I almost get like slightly over the top, slightly inappropriate jest, like laughing it off, almost to push you away, to give him the space that he needs. So if you're experiencing that, I feel like that is about his own fear and his own knowing that he needs space to continue to process this sort of emotional cycle that he is in. And there is a lot of fear with that come to the edge card. Time to go. I want another card here. I feel like there might be another one. Time to go, though. If that's what he needs to work on, it is about knowing when to leave something behind, when to be done with something. When something's not working, fork in the road. Okay. So, fork in the road and time to go. Along with these 2 pages here. Page of Wands is even wearing a blindfold. I feel like there was an unwillingness to see for a long time. An unwillingness, or I don't even want to say a lack of desire, but a lack of wanting to see the ways in which things in their lives needed to change in order to be able to develop into the person that they really are. Okay? There was a lot of accepting or not wanting to change or not wanting to confront the programs, the programming, the holes they had dug for themselves is what I just heard. So there are holes that they've dug from themselves that they now know are not working for them, and they're going to have to move out of them. They know this. They might be rebelling against it a little on some level, which is why they need this space. And yet I do feel confident with the King of Wands showing up here that they will make the choice to move out of it and to move up into this King energy. I just don't know how quickly they're going to do that, but I do feel like there's this animal instinct inside them with this lion down here that is pushing them in that direction, whether they're consciously aware of it or not. It's almost like this card of the Knight of Wands up here about how they're feeling is actually that lion. That is the animal instinct that is kind of pushing them forward. And if they didn't have that, then this might be a much slower process, if you can even imagine that. Okay. So this is what they need to work on. It's a maturity level, and it's a maturity to know when something is done and cooked and over. And a maturity to know when it's time to make a choice to move forward in your life, as opposed to just kind of, so I feel like they're at this crossroads, this sort of difficult pause with this kind of fire lit under them. So what happens then? Do you sit there and get burned, or do you take off in some direction that you don't even know where you're going? And there's a little bit of that in this Come to the Edge card. So they're in a very difficult place. If they get super weird for a while, I would honestly just really give them their space, because this is a hard position to be in. It wasn't exactly the same, but I feel like I did a reading for the feminines maybe a month or so ago where it was kind of similar, where there were some choices to be made, okay, about what to leave, what to keep. And for us, it was about emotional stuff for the most part, programming templates, emotional baggage. That could be true for the masculine as well. It could also be situations in the physical world. It could also be meaning like relationships or jobs. It could also be mental patterns and not just emotional stuff. It comes down to patterns in any case, because even those jobs, those relationships are playing out patterns within them. Okay. Next question is, what does the divine feminine need to work on? What does divine feminine need to work on? So the first card out was the Seven of Swords, and the first thing I heard immediately was being honest with yourself. There is shit that is not working in your life. This is very much like, right now, it's very much like the masculine. We'll see what else comes out here. There are things that need to be said. Yeah, 10 of Wands. Seven of Swords with the 10 of Wands. There are burdens that you're carrying because you don't know any different. Honestly, it's like, it's in there. It's in the programming. And those are the burdens you need to let go of. An example is my like really weird hesitation to speak up about people being in some way, I'm just going to say like in some way it was, I'm still struggling to say the words. Like for me, it felt sexually abusive the way that some of these people were writing to me. Okay. After seeing, you know, just seeing me on YouTube, like, you don't know me. I struggled with that for weeks to say something. And that's a program I was running, that it's not okay to push back. It's not okay to reject, you know, an advance or something like that, which is like absurd on the mental level. Of course it's okay. Of course you have to protect yourself. Of course no one has any right to push themselves on you in any way, ever. But I was running that program and probably still kind of am, because it took me till today to tell people to quit fucking telling me I'm your twin flame. Now, I get it. There's like no real harm in that. But at the same time, it pushes a button in me. And so it needed to be said. It's reflecting my own wounding, right? And so in some ways, these people, you know, I'm not going to go too far with this. In some ways, they've done me a favor to point this out, right? But it's also fucking obnoxious. So don't keep doing it. Anyway. All right, back to the reading and off my own personal shit. I feel like a lot of you are in this place, whatever it is. Like if you have a thing about not wanting to speak up about work, you know, at work when somebody is like trampling all over you, or you don't want to speak up about, you know, somebody saying bad things about you behind your back, but you know they're doing it. Those are all things that need to be kind of, all burdens that need to be put down, okay? Programs we're running that need to be canceled, deleted, and sent to the light immediately. And that is when healing takes place. We have the, oh, so I don't remember if I showed you the 7 with the 10. And then we have the 6 with the Ace of Swords. That is the catalyst to crossing the troubled waters. And that's where you're interacting with your own personal truth on a level that is very conscious, because you can say, okay, I know I'm having this problem. I know I'm running this program. How am I going to deal with it now? How am I going to set my boundaries, be honest, be fair? This is not about flipping out on people or flipping them the finger or running them over and hurting them, but it is about being fair, just, honest. Okay? There's crazy hair things going on with me right now. This brings you over the troubled waters. This brings in healing. This brings you to the next step, the next level. It cuts through these confusing, choppy waters of emotion, because when you've got this shit buried, it's very hard to see what the truth really is. Okay? It was hard for me to know if I was being childish, just not wanting people to push my buttons like that, or if I really had a right to stand up for myself. Of course I had a fucking right to stand up for myself. You know what I mean? Like, so we've all got something like that, and it's time to really confront it. That's what we need to work on. The more aligned we are with our truth, the the more troubled water we're processing through and leaving behind us, allowing it to flow through us, the closer we are to our own alignment, which is the closer we are then to our own source blueprint, which is the closer we are then to healing the gap, the wound, the gash between ourselves and source, which is the closer we are then to healing the wound, the gap, the gash between ourselves and our counterpart. Okay. I'm just going to pull a quick, what is this? I forget. Conscious spirit. For what does the divine feminine need to work on? Spirit guides. I open my heart to my guides and trust the wisdom they share with me. So you're supported in this whole thing. If you're getting wrapped up in your mind, there is a sense of trusting the community, right? So this could include spirit guides. And I just want to say that if you're doing that, that's perfect. If you're not, if you've been afraid to do that, or not really thought about doing that, maybe you've had trouble connecting with your guides, that's a situation in which you can certainly feel free to contact me and set up a private session, and I can help to get you energetically in alignment, but also help you pull through the messages from your own guides and from the akashic records. But the more, so if you're feeling this confusion because you don't know which ends up, right? Like I was talking about before, when it's that buried, it can be hard. This is a way to channel in your highest guidance. And I always go directly to source, okay? Because energies can parade as other things that they are not until you know what the energy signature and vibration actually feels like. So I don't say that to scare anyone, but that is the reason why I go straight to source, because there is nothing that can pretend, nothing negative that can pretend to be source, even though we are all part of source. Source is only the highest possible vibration. So you will know it if something is not coming in on the highest vibration, or if it is a high vibration, then that it's safe, right? So do not fear asking those questions, and know that you can rely on the accuracy of those feelings, those, messages, by hearing, by vision, by whatever, however you get the messages. Everybody gets them in some way. Okay. So if you feel like you haven't been, you just need to trust in the knowing that you have. A lot of times that's the first way people start getting them. All right. So the next question then, okay. So what I normally do next then is just to get a quick message from one to the other. So let's use, one second. Journey of Love. All right, so I think the way I'm going to do this is we're going to get a message simply for the divine masculine and a message simply for the divine feminine. All right, so let's get a message for the divine masculine, please. Devotion to the small. It's hard to see with the light. Devotion to the small. Number 32, which equals a 5 when reduced. So that's about change. She bows. She honors growth. She sees that within the smallest flower there is teaching. There's the teaching of the earth, the gospel of Gaia, the mystery of life demonstrated. She recognizes that she too is of nature, subject to the mysteries of growth and life, that in honoring nature and taking pleasure in life, she opens her heart to allow great creation to happen through her. This is the feminine wisdom, alive in men and women with open hearts. There is an innate wisdom within you that understands this devotion to the Earth Mother as an important step fulfilling your spiritual destiny on this planet. She's speaking to you now, letting you know that there is a small change happening. something that's growing within you, and that you may recognize but not think is so important, yet she tells you now that is very significant. Soon you will see that what you thought was a seed to yield a single flower is actually blossoming into a lush garden of manifestation. Gratitude and love for the small changes happening are leading you into fullness that you can only dream of. Enjoy. The message of this oracle for you is that your blossoming is occurring now. Didn't this not say blossoming or something? Oh, fruition. Fruition. Your blossoming is occurring now, and the Earth Mother has gratitude for your presence within her being, for the work you are doing to help other human beings. And she asks you to surrender any concern you have to her, to let her creative power continue to gently guide you to your rightful place in the world, that you may shine as you were born to do in service of the evolution of this planet. She is helping you now. Trust her. A flower is a poem that tells you the truth of a thought in the fragrance of a dream, as fleeting as a heartbeat, as lasting as a memory. So this kind of feels, this honestly feels a little like the masculine being asked to incorporate the feminine energy. And that feels accurate because he is being asked to let these emotional energies pass through him, even while he's being asked to hold this crazy, potent action energy. And that is why I think he is probably in a place of really, like the way I'm feeling it, is that there's a lot of discomfort. It's like being in a boiling cauldron, or having a fire lit under you, but being afraid to move forward. It's just like really uncomfortable. And so surrendering into this moment to moment, living in the moment kind of energy, devotion to the small, the Earth Mother, allowing the small to blossom in your life and seeing the value and the beauty in that is an important energy for this week, okay? Let's see what wants to come out for the feminine. Do one flip? Yes. Number 8, Yin Yang Lover. 8 is a number, it's like the infinity. I also feel it as like a number of karmic completion. So we have some numbers of sort of karmic change and opening, and a number of karmic completion here. The force of attraction is stronger than your conscious control. There is no need to fight this inner genius. You can learn to speak its language instead. What is it that captures you, that pulls you close, that holds so much light for you? Why fight it? Don't step away from what you really love to grab hold of second prize. Why not claim your first prize? If it is there waiting for you. It is yours alone. No one else can claim your own divine birthright for you. Be yielding and let your desire fill your body, your heart, and your mind. You don't have to fight for what is already yours. It will come to you through the field of attraction that emanates from your own heart. It is not a question of worthiness or deservedness. It is not a question of trying to work out what you need or want. Your heart always knows. Listen. If you still can't hear, then just feel. You'll get the gist of it soon enough. That's what I was talking about, just really getting that guidance. Like, you're getting it. You just might not realize how it's coming in. This oracle has a message for you. No matter whether you seem to be heading closer to your goal or further away, you're making real spiritual progress. And what you want is the same thing that is wanting you. What you are seeking is seeking you. It is only a matter of time before you get it. The moment when to fill my heart again is measured not in time or sweet remorse, nor tears that wash away unbridled pain, or morning's light which sings its soft retort. Such love has slept through storm and winters long. No call could break the stillness's embrace, or hasten change before the season's song unfurls its melody and words so chaste. Empowered thus, I found myself compelled to cast aside emotions dormant still. My feelings spoke from depths. The answer welled, no need to pass the emptiness to fill. At one our touch has opened the hearts anew, of patience born there waits a love so true. Sometimes these poems are super cheesy, but in the end, I want to be honest, like you could almost switch these up right now. And that's been the case for the last few weeks. Like there's a lot of mirroring going on, a lot of the same stuff. So I just find that very interesting. But I hope this was helpful for you. Do join me for the extended reading. The link is in the info box below. We'll go into more detail with different questions for each, the divine masculine and feminine. It's usually a total of roughly an hour long. So it is definitely worth the $4.44, okay? And, oh, that's what I wanted to do. If you would like to set up a session with me, there is my website again. You can always reach me there. And until next time, guys, I thank you so much for being here, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.